What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson, senior staff writer from Dynasty League, football.com. We're midway into the season, and it's time to do a little devy wrap-up. It's time to talk about some devy players, something I'm probably going to do going forward throughout the year, keeping you guys plugged into some of the top players in college football, just so you're hammered down for your rookie drafts, for your devy leagues, whatever you're trying to do. But I'm here for you. Right now, we're going to dig into the quarterbacks. Big things happen in the Oklahoma-Texas game. Spencer Rattler's been off and on all year. Yeah, he's had some good moments, but he has not been playing up to his potential. He's not looked like a Heisman Trophy candidate or a guy being drafted in the top part of the first round of drafts. Obviously, Lincoln Riley thought so too, because they pulled the plug on him. Caleb Williams stepped up, led Oklahoma to the win over Texas. And the thing about Spencer Rattler is, a lot of people are wondering what to do with him. My gut reaction is he's in a big hole. He's probably going to end up hitting the transfer portal, going to another program, and then he's going to have to rebuild. Maybe he gets an opportunity later in the season, maybe not. But right now it's the Caleb Williams show. How to value Rattler? I think his goose is probably cooked. You're just going to have to pray that he turns it around. It could happen. We saw this with Jalen Hurts. He got benched for Tua, went to Oklahoma, played well. Now he's playing for the Eagles, so it could happen, but the odds are not likely. If you have Rattler on your league, you could try selling him. I don't know if it's going to work out too great, but you're just going to have to hope for the best. I feel like a lot of people, though, are sleeping on Caleb Williams, 5-star prospect, and he did a lot of good things in that game. What I liked about his game is when he was under duress and he had to make a play happen, he still kept his eyes downfield looking for his target. Whether there was defensive lineman breathing down his neck or he bobbled the ball or whatever, he was still having his eyes upfield, looking for his wide receivers to get open. From a fantasy football perspective, this guy packs the Konami code. He can run. He can get those yards. He's a guy we should be salivating over because he has the goods to put up fantasy points if he can continue to develop, if he can become one of the top quarterbacks in college football, and then get himself drafted in a high spot to where we want him on our dynasty teams. If all that happens, he is going to be a plug-and-play asset for a long time. Speaking about plug-and-play assets, going forward to this year's draft in 2022, the quarterback I'm looking at the most here is Matt Corral, however you want to say it, but the dude's throwing bombs all over the yard, looking good, looking like a Heisman Trophy candidate. He had that game against Alabama that was tough. He was in a weird game script there and still looked good. He looked good last week, and really there had not been a game where he bombed out at this season. If anything, he's just been impressive, making throws all over the yard, fitting the ball in the tight windows, and just coming in when it matters because he's a stud quarterback prospect. I look for him to rise in value throughout the season, and there's nothing new with this. Everyone's been saying the Matt Corral name all season long because he's a stud quarterback prospect. But I want to wheel this over to the running backs. Running backs, probably the most exciting position in fantasy. Everybody wants them. They're hard to get, especially Dynasty Devy. Bijan Robinson. We all know him. We can't ignore him. He's a good player. I think he's a generational prospect. A lot of you guys are rolling your eyes when you say that word generational. Just don't take it for what it is. Take generational as he's really, really, really good. And he's drawing comparisons right now to Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is pretty good in his own time, but I think he's going to be a better prospect. I think he's going to end up being better than Reggie Bush. I think he's going to supplant him. I think he's going to end up finishing his career in Texas as one of the greatest college running backs of all time, and I don't even think that's a hot take. I don't even think that's opinion. I think that's going to become fact. I think you're going to look at him years down the road, and you're going to be comparing him to guys like Barry Sanders and them when we look at that. He's doing some things on the field that other running backs can't do with fluidity of movement. his speed, his burst, his able to read the momentum of the defenders around him, act off that, and get extra yards. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's more than just athleticism. He also sees the field really well, whether that's his approach to the line of scrimmage or whether that's in the open field. He makes things happen. And honestly, you have to watch every touch when he's on the field or you're afraid you're going to miss something. He's that type of runner. There's not many running backs that come around this often that plays like him, and you're just going to have to enjoy him while you have him. I get it. Bijan Robinson is hard to obtain in devy right now. He's the golden child, and he should be because he plays like that. And I can't wait to see him hit the NFL scene. I do not need to watch him take another down at the collegiate level. I know enough about him that I know he can compete on Sundays and do well. Another running back who is doing well and playing above expectations. The expectations were set pretty low considering it was a transfer to his new team, and that's Kenneth Walker. 913 yards already on the year, 9 touchdowns, 4 100-yard games, 2 games of over 200 yards. He's been blowing up this season, and he's doing it in a different way compared to other running backs because he runs with great vision and patience. Very mature as a runner, allows the holes to open up for him and gets through them with ease, and it's fun to watch, and I look for him to continue to do this throughout the season. I like to see what he's going to look like when we get further into that Big Ten schedule. I want to see him against some tougher competition, but right now, Kenneth Walker, man, is a baller, and I think his draft stock is only rising as we get further into the season. Another name you need to have on your Dynasty or devy radar, which should be already because he's been so productive. Next player, and he's another golden child of the devy fantasy football community, Dynasty. Everyone's talking about it. Travion Henderson, running back for Ohio State, 5-star recruits. And we saw this week 1 against Minnesota when he housed that touchdown. You cannot give this guy open space. You give him green in front of him. If you allow him to be able to have that window in the open field, he is going to score. He can score from anywhere on the field. He has blazing speed. He can catch the ball at backfield. With him seeing limited amount of touches early on in the season, he already has 612 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns, caught 2 more touchdowns in the passing game, putting him at 11 total. Travion Henderson is going to put together a very impressive career at Ohio State if he keeps going at this pace. His intangibles, his athleticism is also going to make him a premier prospect. Right now, from devy fantasy football standpoint, just from reading the tea leaves, from social media and everything else, he's pretty much untouchable. If you're lucky enough to get him in some drafts next offseason, snag him up because he's going to be good for years. Pedaling to the wide receiver spot. And this guy, he was good last year. He's shown that he can compete, but he's taking it to another level, and that's Drake London from USC. My God, this guy's looking like Mike Evans on the field. He's rising up, making plays, climbing the ladder, balling out on dudes. He is tough in contested catch situations, and if the ball's near him, he's going to get it. He's second right now in receiving yards, 500-yard games. 4 of them are back-to-back. Those last 4 games he's had over 100 yards. He had 162 last week against Utah. Not only is he hitting the 100-yard mark, he's straight dominating. He is the fuel of USC's offense. Even though they've had some losses here, London has just been immaculate. Been making plays and looking good doing it. I look for London to continue to elevating his draft stock going into the 2022 NFL Draft. Another wide receiver I want to talk about is Wan'Dale Robinson from Kentucky. Dude's blowing up this year. He's a very explosive playmaker from Nebraska. That's where he transferred from, and Nebraska did him dirty. It did not use him to his full capabilities. Now that we see him here in Kentucky, playing against SEC competition, tougher competition even, he is just doing wonders, blowing up, man. And I just want to see this continue. I'm excited to watch him play, and he's just been a mega riser this year. Wan'Dale Robinson has just came out of nowhere and just been proving people wrong. Those years at Nebraska were just wasted years. I wish he could have been at Kentucky this whole time, because watching him play now just got me excited. Just see him at the NFL level, see what he can do, see how he can compete against some of the top wide receivers during the draft process too. Wan'Dale Robinson is another guy to jot down when you get ready to head into those rookie drafts. But I want to thank you for watching the show, sticking with me. Let me know what prospects are you looking at. Drop them in the comments. What players you want me to talk about next time. Drop those in the comments. I want to thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.